you can find some really talented players that you're actually able to scout as well, and they have a lot of good players in there, and you can find some really hidden gems that your scouts would never have picked up on because they'll be from some very obscure countries some of the time. So it's a way people may not have thought of doing, but there are some big clubs and some smaller clubs out there with good facilities in their country, such as ASEC from Ivory Coast, very good youth recruitment. Tip number 3, look through national teams. So this tip is very simple. What you'll be doing, you'll be selecting a national team, for example, Algeria, organising their senior squad list by age, looking for young players with lots of caps for the first team. You're going to be hitting the down arrow next to the country's name, going for every single country, looking for players who are young and have caps for the national team, and then you can go on to scout them, and if they're good, you can go on to sign them. It takes a little bit of time, that one, but it's well worth doing. So let's get into the main video now with tip number 1. Okay, lads, so here is tip 1, which is a regen day and scouting tip. What we'll be doing in this section of the video is we're going to be going into our scouting screen on regen day. Now, it's worth bearing in mind that regen days do vary depending on the country you're in. In England, it does happen to be early March. It will vary what day in March it is every single year in your save. So I'm not sure what all the different days are, so you're going to have to check that when regen day does occur, because this tip is only valid on regen days. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going into our scouting page on Football Manager. And you're going to be filtering players by a maximum age of 15 or 16. The best way to do this is 15 years old. If you do it at 16 years old, it's likely that you're going to get players from last year's youth intake appear in your search results. And if that happens, obviously, they're not going to be on free contracts, and you're not going to be able to sign them very cheaply. Now, it's worth bearing in mind that with 15-year-olds, and you've got to get them on regen day. You have to be quick. You haven't got time to scout these players. The best way of kind of getting an indication of their ability is to filter them via value. So the ones with high values, if you've got a 15-year-old worth 1.5 million on your scouting list, the likelihood is you're going to be a good prospect for the future. So you're going to want to go in there. If you're a smaller club, even if you're quite a large club, players won't always want to sign for you. Like this lad from Chelsea up the top here, he's likely to reject me just because he's at Chelsea. He's only just signed there. So this method is a little bit hit and miss in that aspect. But what you've got to bear in mind is that you've got to be constantly looking at every regen day. If you want to look up other nations' regen days and then scout through their young players, it's well worth doing. To do that, though, you're going to have to be scouting countries constantly. So what we'll be showing you in just a moment is what sort of scouting setup you should have. But as you can see here, is that Chelsea player. Just try to convince him to sign for us. He's not going to this time. Unfortunately, I was unsuccessful this regen day in finding a good talent who wants to sign. It is all a little bit hit and miss with players like this, especially with this technique. The other two techniques are better. Obviously, they're not necessarily going to get me homegrown players, but it does have kind of a higher ratio of finding good talent to signing these good players because they always want to come to me because of the countries they're currently in. And what we're just showing you here is how to scout for regens. You're going to be setting it for hot prospects. You're going to want to put a scout on there who has really good judging player potential ability, and then you're going to be sending them out for as long as it takes an ongoing scout report with minimum potential. Realistically, at 3 stars, you can up that to 4, you can up that to 5. Obviously, you're going to get less results. So you just want to go put a really good scout on that, and then you should be able to find the top players in your country or in any countries in terms of regens. Alright lads, so before we get into the second tip, what you're seeing on the screen now is a list of all the teams in Football Manager 2015 who have the highest youth recruitments in quite a few different countries. Now you may notice there's a couple of big teams missing, such as Borussia Dortmund or Paris Saint-Germain. I've excluded certain teams just because I feel like they're obvious ones you'd look at. As you can see, there's quite a few countries in there. You've got Argentina, you've got Armenia, you've got Ghana, you've got Morocco. All these teams are worth checking every single year just to see if they have a quality player. Now if they do, scout them and you'll see, and you should be able to sign them before any other teams get in there. But you'll see all that happen once we're into the footage. Now it's also worth bearing in mind this isn't a definitive list. Feel free to look around all sorts of clubs in all sorts of countries, but these are like the main clubs in terms of their talent and in terms of the youth recruitment system they have in place in their countries, and they're really ones more likely to give you good talent and good prospects. So just pause this video now, screenshot this screen, and you can use this list as a reference for any scouting or any region hunting you may well do. Okay lads, so into the second tip, what we're going to do here, what you're going to see on camera is just be going through six or so different teams, just looking to see if they've got any hot prospects and to see if they've got anyone worth us having a look at. Now the teams we're looking at are ASEC from Ghana, FC, and I apologise for this, kind of really butchered their name, FC Midtjylland from Denmark, Atromitos from Greece, a Romanian side called UTA Arad, a Uruguayan side called Danubio, and the Toronto FC Academy. Now it's worth bearing in mind that with these countries, even though Arsenal aren't going to have the best scouting knowledge, they're quite a variety of countries, so if we find any of these players, we're not going to know anything about them. young, and have a lot of caps for their respective national team. So just pick any country you can think of. In this case, I'm going to do Ivory Coast. So we're going to search for the Ivory Coast here. Here we go. And we're going to go to their senior squad. Now, once on the senior squad, we're going to put the player's youngest at the top of the squad screen. As you can see, we found the player straight away. So I'm going to have a look at him, see if he's any cop. And we're going to scout him because we've got a little bit of leeway with these players as well. Obviously, bearing in mind with this video, I have literally just simulated 3 seasons in. I haven't had 3 seasons worth of me scouting me doing this every season. So some of these top players like this lad here have been picked up by a better club already. But still, he's not at a world-class club, so we should be able to sign him pretty cheaply anyway. But if you're doing this year in, year out, you won't miss out on players like this. So once you've found players, obviously, you want to hit the scout button, do it through the 2 or 3 months just so you can get a really good overview of them, and that way there's less margin for error from your scouts. Last one obviously have Steve Rowley, he's got 20 potential and 20 current ability, and what you're going to do is you're going to scout them, and after that you're just going to flick through all the countries in that continent and all the countries you find, and you're going to scout any players that look interesting. As you can see, I'm just scanning through countries now. Sped this footage up so obviously you don't have to watch me doing it all very, very slowly, and we're going to scout anyone that seems interesting. Now we're going to bring it back to but I do feel these are kind of the best ways of finding regions before big clubs do them. Now, I'm just looking over Diego Ali here. As you can see, he's got really good potential.